to race. Moving on, we'll talk about that later. Nina set off to Wembley Police Station to hand in the glasses, and she left Adam and his parents to continue the search in the park. She testified later that she felt deep regret because Adam had asked her what he should do while she was gone. She said to him, "If you can bear it, just keep looking." Meanwhile, Adam and his parents continued to search the park, and Mr. Stone, Adam's father, found another pair of sunglasses, these ones belonging to Nicole. He left them where they were because in the back of his mind he was thinking that this park might soon be declared a crime scene and he didn't want to disturb any evidence. A little further along, he found a knife. Adam then saw shoes in the undergrowth. He had found his girlfriend. He dropped to his knees and he screamed. Adam's mother said, quote, "It was like the whole world stopped at that very point." Nicole and Bibaa were not found until 2 days after their party in the park, not by the police, not by emergency services staff. They were found by Adam Stone and his parents, something that will live with them forever, I am sure. Adam later wrote a victim impact statement for the court, and he said that the images would live with him forever and that he just could not unsee what he saw that day. Adam and Nicole had met on Facebook around 2014. They had been living together for a while at his parents' house. Together they had a pet bearded dragon. He was 35 and worked as a video editor. In June 2019, Nicole decided to move into a shared flat, but Adam says that they remained best friends and very much in love. Adam knew that he had to call Mina Smallman on the telephone, and his words were, Mina, we found a knife. Mina, I'm gonna need you to sit down. I found them, but they've gone." Those words will likely live with Mina because at that moment, Adam had extinguished the last shred of hope that she had that this story would have a happy ending. Those words will no doubt also stay with Adam the rest of his life too. Adam then took it upon himself to call and text other friends and family members who had been looking for the girls, and he used the same phrase, "I found them, they're gone." He sent a text message to Bibaa's friend Nina, who had found the sunglasses earlier, and he let her know what he had found. He said, "I found them, but they're gone." Nina said she knew what he meant, but she didn't want to believe it, so she replied asking, "What do you mean they're gone?" And Adam replied, "They are dead." As we move past the act of the murder, this particular case has a series of twists and turns. The way in which the police handled the case of the missing women in the first 36 hours was brought under a heavy investigation. The first call from worried family and friends to police was on the 6th of June at 9:20 p.m. Adam Stone told the court while he testified that he received a call to advise him police were cancelling a visit to Bibaa's apartment for a welfare check. Adam had spoken to Mina, their mother, on the 6th of June and told her how he was gripped with panic after still not hearing from Nicole by 5 p.m. the day after the party. Obviously, this was out of character, or this story would have a different narrative. Mina Smallman tried to call the police herself. She later said that it was obvious to her that there was no sense of urgency from the police to look into this matter. She received no follow-up from the police, and every time she called, she would have to speak to a different person, recounting and retelling the facts and trying to get something to happen. During an interview on ITV News, Mina Smallman said that basically their family had to do the job of the police and start the missing persons protocol on their own. Tracking down who had been to the party via Facebook and trying to find the answers about Nicole and Bibaa's whereabouts. Police did attend Friant Country Park. It was around 12 noon on the 7th of June 2020. This was around 15 hours after the first call to report concerns for the girls' welfare. While on their way to the park, there was a call to the police to report that the friends had found the bodies of Nicole and Bibaa. It was reported in the media that the police attended after they'd received the reports of, quote-unquote, 2 unresponsive women. The 999 call that Adam made after discovering the bodies was too distressing to be played in court, but he did give evidence during Hussein's trial. Here is some of the audio from a press conference or a media release held hours after the sisters were found.
So what I can say is that at about 1:10 on Sunday, police were called to Freyant Country Park to reports of 2 females that were seen unresponsive. Officers arrived on scene and found 2 deceased females, and whilst formal identification has not yet taken place, I'm confident that they are sisters Nicole Smallman and Bibaa Henry. So we urgently need to hear from anybody that was in and around Freyant Country Park from about 7 p.m. on Friday. We know that on Friday, Bibaa was celebrating her birthday with friends and family in the park, and anybody that saw anything suspicious from Friday evening onwards, we urge you to get in touch with us or anonymously via Crime Stoppers to assist detectives with what is a murder investigation. So I'd like to reassure the local community that we've got a significant police presence out and about, and specialist detectives from the Met's Homicide Command are investigating this, along with specially trained officers who are supporting the family in what are horrific and tragic circumstances. So I think the public can expect to see a lot of police activity in and around the park, which will be a crime scene for days to come. I think all I can say at this stage is that my colleagues from the Homicide Command are in the very early stages of their investigation, but this is an active murder inquiry.
Nicole and Bibaa were declared dead on scene at 1:08 p.m. British Summer Time. It was reported in The Sun, a newspaper in the UK, that a witness had heard screams. A local resident was in the park before emergency services arrived, and she said that screaming had been heard in the area. During the initial reports, people believed that the screams may have been from Nicole and Bibaa. However, Adam testified in court that when he found the bodies, he screamed and fell to his knees in horror. Witnesses had heard him screaming, not the victims. The police believed that the killer entered the park via an entrance on Valley Drive. He arrived just 40 minutes after Nicole and Bibaa. This park entrance is not easily noticeable from that particular road. It's almost hiding under a disguise. Someone who was unfamiliar with the area would probably walk right past it and not notice. Speaking from personal experience, I've been in the UK and I've only come to know of these places by accident. I would stumble across an entrance or feel a bit brave and decide to stick my head through some hedges just to find the parks that were hidden behind them. Yes, there are signs, but often if you don't know what is there, you don't tend to go walking between houses off the street looking for parks. I did a bit of a Google search and I found this particular entrance to the park. It's a huge park. There's a road that cuts through the middle of it. Walking along Valley Drive, thank you Street View on Google Maps, the entrance to the park is between 2 houses. I've taken a screenshot of those images and I've shared them on the Patreon page for everyone. The link is also in the show notes. There's also some images from Crime Scene Images in London. It's a YouTube video which I've shared with our patrons. Back to the entrance of the park. The entrance is signposted, but it would easily be mistaken as part of someone's yard. If you weren't looking for it, you would walk right past. My point is, you'd have to know your way around here in the dark to know that this is the entrance to the park. You could easily walk right by and not notice it. It's that inconspicuous. I can't tell, maybe someone listening can see if either of the houses on either side of the entrance or possibly across the road have CCTV cameras. This entrance is also on the complete opposite side of the park where Bibaa and Nicole were having their party. The murderer went here and was obviously wandering around looking for his victim. Here's another snippet from ITV News, Sajal Karia.
While Bibaa Henry, Nicole Smallman and their friends gathered here at the park for the party, it's alleged Danyal Hussein was preparing for his attack and that he'd arrived 45 minutes after the sisters, using an entrance from where he could easily see the celebrations. Where he went and what he did for the next 4 hours isn't known, according to the prosecution, but they believe that he spent that time looking for potential victims.
Shortly after Nicole and Bibaa were murdered, Mina Smallman lost her sister to terminal cancer, blaming the death of the girls on her sister's rapid decline in health. Due to being unable to speak about her daughters, Mina went from speaking to her sister every day to almost hardly at all, and after she eventually passed away, Mina couldn't bear to go to her sister's funeral because it was held in the same place as Bibaa and Nicole's funeral. In her victim impact statement to the court during Hussein's trial, Mina Smallman said, "No one expects their children to die before them, but to have 2 out of 3 of your children be murdered on the same night is just incomprehensible." Danyal Hussein was born on May 10th, 2002. We've talked about the killer, we've mentioned what he did to Bibaa and Nicole, how he committed his crime, brutally stabbing both girls and then dragging them into the cover of brush and weeds. But who is he? Just 18 when he committed this crime, Danyal Hussein is an incel, an involuntary celibate. He was part of a misogynistic online community that had been described by some experts as a cult. Many of the other members appear to worship British killer Elliot Rodger, who killed 7 people, including himself, and injured 14 other people either by shooting or running them over in his motor vehicle on May 23, 2014 in Isla Vista, California. This weirdo is a whole episode for another time, so let's stay tuned for that. The online group was originally started for men and women who had struggled to find themselves a partner. All completely innocent. However, over time, it had been hijacked by these twisted cultists and misogynists. The group was now full of angry, bitter men who blamed women for their sexual shortfalls. Danyal Hussein was one of those members. Danyal Hussein had also been referred to the Anti-Terror Prevent program after he expressed disturbing far-right views and had accessed terrorism-related material on his school computers. This program includes a 6 and 12-month review and reporting to Metropolitan Police, according to a spokesperson. They did not catch this kind of thinking from Danyal, and they released him from the program. Don't get me wrong, the police do a good job, but if someone wanted to hide something and they bury it deep enough, it probably would never go noticed. Hussein's weird, dark views had started to emerge from around the age of 12. According to some of his classmates, Danyal exhibited strange behavior and strange views openly at school. One classmate said, "Danyal was a very jealous person. He stalked my friend to the point where she saw him while she was walking home." Someone else said that in class during history, he would shout out Heil Hitler, and during religious education, often he would say, "I worship the devil." On the 3rd of June 2020, Hussein ordered some items from Amazon. Those items were a balaclava and 2 folding shovels. Later that day, Hussein visited the Asda in Colindale, a borough of London. It was at Asda that he purchased a knife block which included the knife that he used to murder Nicole and Bibaa, a 12cm blade. Asda, for those of you outside of the UK and unfamiliar with it, is Walmart in the United States and Big W or something similar in Australia. The knife was found at the park on the ground with bloodstains all over it. The knife also had Nicole and Bibaa's DNA all over it. Later that same day again, he went back to that same Asda and purchased some power tape or grey duct tape. On the 5th of June, Danyal Hussein went to the Morrison's supermarket on Edgware Road, which is also in Colindale. It was here that he picked up the Amazon items that he'd ordered, stuffed them into a rucksack, and instead of going home, he went straight to Friant Country Park. It's worth noting that the jury were convinced that all of these items were intended to be used in the commission of the murders. They convicted him of having an offensive weapon in public place, count 3 on his list of charges. Hussein was wearing latex gloves as he walked to the park, showing that he knew exactly what he was going to be doing. The judge said that this was very clearly calculated and planned with great precision. After he had murdered Bibaa and Nicole, Danyal attended the hospital on 2 occasions to seek medical attention for his hand. He lied to the medical staff. At Northwick Park Hospital, he told the doctor that he received the injury to his hand after he was attacked by a group of boys. Later, he told another doctor that he had been mugged. Neither of these stories was true. In a further effort to conceal his activity, on the 16th of June, Danyal called his bank. He spoke to them about unrecognized transactions on his card, in particular the Amazon purchases and the purchases that were made